Welcome everyone, part 2. I'll start off this section here with the Anakim. There's actually many references to the Anakim in the Bible, and they were the Titan-sized giants, around 450 feet tall. And there's actually some evidence for the size in the Bible too. Now, if we look in Deuteronomy 1:28, we can see it says, "Whither are we going up? Our brethren have melted our heart, saying, a people greater and taller than we, cities great and fenced to heaven, and also sons of Anakim we have seen there. And I say unto you, be not terrified, nor be afraid of them. Jehovah your God, who is going before you, he does fight for you according to all that he has done with you in Egypt before your eyes." And we can also see more about the Anakim in Deuteronomy 2. In verse 9, it's talking about Moab. The Israelites were journeying across the lands, and they were going to go through Moab, so God's giving them a warning. In verse 10 it says, "The Emim formerly have dwelt in it, a people great and numerous and tall as the Anakim. Rephaim they are reckoned, they also as the Anakim, and the Moabites call them Emim. And in Seir have the Horim dwelt formerly, and the sons of Esau dispossess them, and destroy them before them, and dwell in their stead, as Israel has done to the land of his possession, which Jehovah has given them." So we can see a few interesting things from this. First, that Esau, the big bad guy, they actually did what Israel should have done, right off the bat. Israel hesitated in fear to conquer the giants, the Titans, and the Anakim in the Promised Land. And because of this, they lacked to get the Promised Land when they were supposed to. Esau, however, had already dispossessed them. This is quite impressive. So, and the Horim, by the way, are another tribe of giants. So we can see also that the Emim are the size of the Anakim, and they are simply the name that the Moabites call them. And the Rephaim, another tribe of giants, are also reckoned like the Anakim. So we have all these different types of giants just from these few verses here. And in verse 15 we can see, "And also the hand of Jehovah has been against them to destroy them from the midst of the camp till they are consumed." So God, again, he's helping Israel to destroy these giants. Now also about the Anakim, we can see in Numbers 13, when the Israelites sent the spies out and they first saw them. They are so astonished by their size. And this is when they said, in Numbers 13:31, it says, "And the men who have gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for it is stronger than we. And they bring out an evil account of the land which they espied unto the sons of Israel, saying, the land into which we passed over to spy it, it is a land eating up its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw in its midst are men of stature. And there we saw the Nephilim, sons of Anak, of the Nephilim, and we are in our own eyes as grasshoppers. And so we were in their eyes." Now, for comparison, in the Jewish text, they talk about this moment. And they say that one of the daughters of the Anakim was eating a giant pomegranate. Now, if I didn't mention in the first video, in the land of the giants there were giant trees, giant plants, giant creatures. A lot of things were giant. And this giant girl, was eating a giant pomegranate. Now, when she had taken some bites out of it and dropped it down to the earth, the pomegranate was so large that a few of the spies could hide within it. This is just a size comparison. So that means that if she was to hold the Israelite spies in her hand, they would be like half the size of her pinky finger. Truly like the size of a grasshopper in her hand. So this is massive. They were Titan size. That means you're about 400 or so feet tall. And it's also saying here that the Nephilim are children of Anak. And as I've tried to teach in all my other videos about the giants, even my old videos, the Nephilim were the hybrid offspring from the Titans. The Titans were the Anunnaki who came here, the B'nai Elohim. Originally, the group that came over were to do good things for the earth, like the angels, and they are the ones in Genesis. However, some of them got persuaded by one in particular. He was Satan, known as Azazel and Semyaza, and he led 1/3 of the angels which guarded earth to fall down into lust and fornication with the earth, humans, and creatures, begetting the Nephilim. So this verse confirms all of that. The Nephilim were sons of Anak. Now, also we can see more about the Anakim in Joshua 11:21. It says, "And Joshua cometh at that time, and cutteth off the Anakim from the hill country, from Hebron, from Debir, and from Anab, even from all the hill country of Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel, with their cities has Joshua devoted them. There has not been left Anakim in the land of the sons of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod were they left." And in Joshua 14:12 it says, "And now give to me this hill country of which Jehovah spake in that day, for thou did hear in that day, for Anakim are there, and cities great fenced. If so be Jehovah is with me, then I have dispossessed them, as Jehovah has spoken." And in verse 15 it says, "And the name of Hebron formerly is Kiriath Arba, he who is the great man among the Anakim, and the land has rest from war." So we can see that this is confirmation that these titans and giants were so barbaric and warlike, conquering everything out of their pride, greed, lust, and hunger and everything. And this is why they were destroyed. They inhabited Israel, the Holy Land, the Promised Land, everything. And this is why they had to be wiped out. So the Anakim have a lot of references in the Bible, and that's quite interesting. Now, if we look up Talmai, in Numbers 13:22 it says, "And they go up by the south and come into Hebron, and there are Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, children of Anak. And Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt." And in Joshua 15:14 it says, "And Caleb is dispossessing thence the 3 sons of Anak, Sheshai, and Ahiman, and Talmai, children of Anak." And in Judges 1:10 it also references these 3 giants. It says, "And Judah goeth unto the Canaanite, who is dwelling in Hebron. And the name of Hebron formerly is Kiriath Arba, and they smite Sheshai, and Ahiman, and Talmai." Now, one of these giants, their name actually translates as "he who leaves furrows," which means like giant gaping, holes or pits in the ground. Because when this giant walked, he was so huge that every footstep he made, like if the ground was wet, would make like a little lake, like a little pond, I should say. So that's how big these giants were, these 3 sons of Anak. They were Nephilim. They weren't even the full size as their Titan forefathers. So that's quite interesting that these obscure giants are mentioned so many times. Now, when we start looking at the Rephaim, there's actually quite a few very interesting things. One is we have the Valley of the Rephaim, the land of the Rephaim. So there was basically a land and valley of the giants. That's quite interesting. In Genesis 14:5 we have Melchizedek and Chedorlaomer, I don't know how to say the name, and they were fighting off, this is when Abraham met them and stuff, right? They were the ones fighting off the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim. And we know that the Emim are the same as the Anakim, and the Zuzim are likewise. In Genesis 15:20 it says, "And the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Rephaim." Again, talking about 3 tribes of giants. So giants are throughout the Bible. And Bashan was the land of Rephaim. In Deuteronomy 3:13 we can see this. And in Joshua 12:4 it talks about King Og, that 11-12-foot giant king, being a remnant of the Rephaim, who is dwelling in Ashtaroth and in Edrei. And in Joshua 15 and 17 it even talks about, more of this again there. You can go read that. In Joshua 18 it talks about the Valley of the Rephaim. It's even describing their locations and stuff. And, the Valley of the Rephaim is referenced in 2 Samuel 5:18 and 2 Samuel 5:22. And in many more places. Now, there's a few very interesting things when you look up Rephaim. In Job 26:5 it says, "The Rephaim are formed beneath the waters, also their inhabitants." Now, when you break that down logically, these massive giants, Titan-sized, remember, because it says they are like the Anakim, are beneath the waters. This means they are underneath the lakes or oceans. Okay, which I've always tried to teach in my giant videos, that these giants live underground in giant underground cave systems. Okay, and in Hindu, belief in what that religion teaches, they teach that many different species of giants live underground in these giant cave systems, at the bottom of lakes, at the bottom of oceans, in these fantastic advanced cities. Okay, and even under the lakes and oceans. So this verse here from the Bible confirms that. In Proverbs 9:18, it actually says something else that confirms this. It says, "And he has not known that Rephaim are there, in the deep places of Sheol, her invited ones." Sheol is the underworld. Okay, and underworld means what's under the world. This is the underground regions, which are hellish. If you go there, it's like you're in hell. Okay, and that's where these remnants of the Rephaim are. In Isaiah 14:9, it says, "Sheol beneath has been troubled at thee, to meet thy coming in. It is waking up for thee, Rephaim, all chief ones of earth. It is raised up from their thrones, all kings of nations." So again, this is, establishing all the things that I've said, that these giants, they posed as kings, they ruled the earth. These Nephilim, even their forefathers who posed as the gods, these fallen angels, okay, who are led by Azazel Semyaza, who was Satan. Okay, they were the ones posing as this. They're imprisoned under the ground, okay, in what is called Sheol, and that's where they are. And a lot of them are sleeping for hundreds of years or thousands of years because of their different biology, and that's why it's saying is waking up for the Rephaim. Now, one other thing that's very important to know is in Joel 2, we see something striking. It's talking about, the end days when the great disaster is coming, and what it's talking about is when in the book of Revelations, it talks about an angel coming down to the earth and opening up the great pit. This is the underground region that I've been talking about. Okay, a great smoke comes up and then there's darkness. And then all the giants and fallen angels are gradually released from the pit. And even monsters, these hybrid monsters, which are Nephilim hybrid creations as well. Okay, so when they're all coming out of the pit, this is actually confirmed in Joel 2. It says, "Blow ye a trumpet in Zion, and shout ye in my holy hill. Tremble, do all inhabitants of the earth. For coming is the day of Jehovah, for it is near. A day of darkness and thick darkness, a day of cloud and thick darkness, as darkness spread upon the mountains, a people numerous and mighty, like it there has not been from of old, and after it there is not again, till the years of generation and a generation. Before it consumed as fire, and after it burned as a flame, as the Garden of Eden is the land before it, and after it a wilderness, a desolation. And also an escape there has not been to it." And in verse 5 it says, "And the noise of chariots on the tops of the mountains they skip, as the noise of a flame of fire devouring stubble, as a mighty people set in array for battle. From its face pained are peoples, all faces have gathered paleness. As mighty ones they run, as men of war they go up a wall, and each in his own ways do they go, and they embarrass not their paths. And each his brother they press not, each in his way they go on. If by the missile they fall, they are not cut off. In the city they run to and fro, on the wall they run, into houses they go up by the windows, they go in as a thief. At their face trembled has the earth, shaken have the heavens, sun and moon have been black, and stars have gathered up their shining." And it goes on, right? But this is the time, and they're giants, okay? Missiles, these projectile weapons will not take them down, they'll get back up. They can reach into your higher windows of buildings and houses. When they run across the mountains, it'll look like they're skipping across the mountains, and it'll sound like chariots. Okay, this is obviously giants. They're so destructive, that's why it says in verse 3 that, it could be like the Garden of Eden, the land that's in front of them. But when they pass over and march over that land, they leave in its wake such destruction that it looks like the land has been razed by fire. And that's what is being said in those verses. So this is exactly like locusts. And that's why I've taught in my other videos that the locusts in Revelations, when the pit is open and the locusts are released, this is symbolizing all the Nephilim, the giants, the titans, the Anakim, and so forth, and the fallen angels. Because locusts, like them, live underground for a very long period of time. They sleep for a very long period of time. And some of them even metamorphose. When they emerge from the earth, they are ravenous, and they desecrate the wilderness. Okay, they eat everything in sight. And in the Bible, man is symbolized by trees, plants, and even grass. So when it says they go out and eat all of those things and destroy it, it's talking about destroying mankind. And truly, they go on to destroy a good number of mankind. I can't remember if it's a third or a quarter. Okay, but that's billions in either case. So, and they will only be able to touch those who have the mark of the beast, by the way. Well, anyways, I've run out of time, so I'll have to end this video. So I hope you enjoyed this, little two-part series. Thank you for watching.